And we're back, and you know what? We got Cheryl Boyles from Compass. You discover more cash flow for your business. I'm just reading it off your website. So, but that is a big thing right now.
Very much so.
Very big thing. So let's talk about that.
Perfect. Okay, basically, in today's world, everybody needs cash flow. We need it as fast, and with the inflation, things going on, cash flow is big. How do we get cash flow? Would it be cool for IRS to pay you?
Oh, God, yeah. I'd love to have that check.
Instead of IRS paying, we all know what that check looks like otherwise going the other direction. Okay. There are so many incentives. Businesses don't know. They see the big ones, the ERC, things, maybe cost seg is out there. There's like 50, 60, 80 different opportunities out there for people, and they're not aware of it. So let's start with that. Second thing is, there's grants, certain types of grants for different people. There's incentives for people starting their 401k. It's not just incentives for employees.
Okay.
There's incentives for ways to reduce your property taxes if you own buildings.
Right.
There's ways to actually get better loans. A lot of times, right now with the inflation, we're talking about inflation.
Yeah.
Loans, go to a bank and ask for a loan to do something like an acquisition or something with equipment, and it doesn't have to do with buying a building. They're going to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not our wheelhouse.
Well, not today.
Not today.
Maybe if things change, but we used to do that.
Right.
That's the best one. We used to do that. So
that is, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs that are just now getting, they decide to open a business now, and I'm like, okay, all right.
Hey, but there's startup incentives for that.
There are, and then people ask me, I'm like, I have no idea. I have bootstrapped this for my whole life, so I have no idea. But now that you're saying this, even my brain's going, grants. I know about those. Those are nice, but I don't know if I fit in the category and all that kind of fun stuff. So, but that's really what you do.
Right.
Well, okay, so what got you into this world?
Well, I have a financial background in the fact that, my dad was, he was a disabled guy who got himself up and worked really, really hard. So we learned the hard work aspect. Right. We know how to work hard because, the buck stops here, right?
Correct.
So, so we learned how that aspect of it, but he also learned to do so much of that and open many businesses. So I've got all that background, but he didn't know how to multiply it beyond that. Oh. He didn't know how to use that business to become more for the next opportunity, or in this, sadly, create the legacy that he should have been able to create for my family, mostly my mother.
Right.
And so, I got in the financial world as a financial advisor because I wanted to help people learn how to multiply their money in a proper way and in a safer way. So then I get married, got a father-in-law, cardiologist, hematologist. He had tax shelters and all these things that were back in the 70s,
right? Yeah.
Some of the 80s maybe, but mostly
Bahamas
70s. And things changed.
Yeah.
Somebody forgot to tell him that.
Oh, Lord.
He didn't have the advisors. He lost opportunities. The poor man not only had to go bankruptcy, the grandmother, the mother-in-law, forget it. She ended up losing the house of her dreams.
Oh, geez.
He had to lower his practice. He ended up dying with the gurney still in his garage.
Oh, my.
So he got back up on it.
Yeah.
Then he turned around and had Alzheimer's and didn't think about the protection of it, and then still had to pay it out because of long-term care because he forgot that piece of the pie. Oh, I'll be good enough to be able to take care of it. Well, who thought that dementia was going to take 10 years?
Yeah.
So the long-term care ended up dying off financially in 3 years, and he didn't think about the rest of it. So it comes back to how do we use our businesses to support our families? I mean, why do we have a business?
Right, to make money.
It's to make money, but it's also to have what? Control.
Oh, yeah. Control's awesome.
We like having our own
Control
schedule.
is very good.
We like having flexibility, and we like not to answer to somebody else, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So what do? Whatever it takes to keep it afloat, we put the money back in.
Yep.
Okay? We had this conversation earlier. We put the money in to see what it takes to keep it afloat. We will put the risk out to have the control, the flexibility, with the opportunity for the big payday.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, why aren't we using those opportunities that come to us that we're not aware of? We've got these tax incentives. I mean, for a restaurant who was closed, for an average size restaurant, 100 employees, it's not uncommon for me to be able to bring them $800,000.
But what if you don't have any employees?
Okay.
And you're just a company, and it's like 3 or 4 guys, and we K2 ourselves or whatever that is at the end of the year.
The self-employed, there's different grants and different options for the different startup piece.
Okay.
But you're not going to get the ERC, which is going to be your employee retention. You're not going to get the employee portions. If you hire people, they're worth $1,200 to $10,000 for every single person you hire going forward.
Really?
Yeah, but my husband and I owned our own business. Didn't have the employees because we had it where we had the 1099 go.
Yep.
And so we didn't get any of those monies because you or the related person can't get those.
Correct.
So, but you also had PPPs. The ERC is combined with it now. Most people thought it was only the ERC or the PPP. Now you have, let's say it's 100,000 tops for both of them. If you got the 30,000 PPP, you got 70,000 coming back with ERC. So you do have other options available. Again, you got to, do you qualify? Did you have reductions where you shut down? There's a lot of things that go with it. So, that's one of the reasons why you want to work with somebody instead of just go willy-nilly, because you might spend a lot of time spinning a lot of wheels, find out there was no money there to begin with, like I said with my husband and I. So what does the average person do? It depends on what you do.
Right.
Because if you're into tech, there's R&D available to you with different stuff that you didn't know about, even though you might still not have an employee option. And maybe you own a business, maybe you're rental real estate. And so you have all the cost segregation, which is actually front-loading your depreciation, so then you can turn around and reinvest that into your business.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things with that, as I said, with the loans as well, property tax reductions. Another thing most people don't think about is we actually audit credit cards. We audit workers' comp. We audit claims for health insurance, like doctors. Are you being paid wrong? Are they charging you fees you didn't know about? Are you getting paid what you should?
Wow.
There's nothing worse than a leaky boat.
Right.
You can keep filling it, but after a while, you're still taking on some water, even if it's not enough to drown you. And, if it's not going to sink you, you're still in a situation, though, you're still leaking.
Right.
Well, that might be the only profit that you had. So now you're back putting money back in instead of taking out.
Feeding the beast.
Okay, right.
Yep.
The bottom of this line of all of it is that we need to make our businesses valuable and profitable. We are either going to get an exit strategy and we're going to sell this thing, or we're going to make it a legacy deal. But either so, we want to push it on in a proper manner, take what we need off the table, and create our own wealth. I mean, it's all about what comes back to us in the long run. We want to have the life we need and we want. Okay, most of us are into some form of legacy who've actually had a business because we either want to take the money out and put it towards our family, or we want to give it to our family.
Right.
You got to have a business valuation because our money is tied into our business just as much as it's tied into our personal.
Right.
If we are business owners.
Yeah. Yeah. No one understands. If you're not a business owner, you have no clue. And I love people going, well, if it was my business, I'd just do this.
Maybe. Maybe not.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you might have tried that and said, well, been there, done that, and can write the book on it.
Got the shirt, burned it.
Or it's like maybe it wasn't the right time.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't, you hit COVID right at that right time. Okay, some people, it buried them. Some people are surviving.
Right.
Some people actually, like Amazon, they flourished.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Zoom, the guys that own Zoom.
Oh my.
You can't tell me they're not making money.
I didn't invest in that fast enough, did I? At the wrong time. Again, you're on the backside. So, and I think people, when I try to help businesses understand is, okay, I brought you money, or we looked and found out what you're spending your time and money on expense-wise. How is that going to the bottom line? How is that creating a valuation for you? Okay, you're having a hard time with retaining employees. Well, did we talk about the different things that you can do to incentivize them enough? It doesn't break the bank, but now we've found you money to pay for that?
Right.
So that why? The money is great, and to bring $1 million to a company is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the company is. It's $100,000 for a small company. They're excited to have that money.
Yep.
Okay, but what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Okay, are we going to spend it wisely? Are we going to invest it in certain things? Or is it time to take some of that off and invest it for yourself? Because how many of us have real retirement plans?
Right.
We're going to sell the business, that's our retirement. Well, I got news for everybody. How many times does it really work?
Yeah, nope. How do people get a hold of you? We're out of time already.
Oh my. CherylBoyles.com, 813-220-1814, or always you can remember Uncover Cash Flow, and that will get you the same site.
That's awesome. Thank you for being on today. We really appreciate it. Stick
great.
around. I got Matt coming up. He'll be right back after these messages.